All right, so I'm just providing context because this may come out of the blue, but it is related to Galaxy when we get to the very end. So phenotypes, it got brought up earlier today. We're working on a project that's collecting phenotypes. It's a whole lot of people. I would like to point out particularly Melissa Hundell, Chris Mungle, Peter Robinson, and Damien Smedley, but it's gathering a lot of information. Why does it all matter? It's because obviously evolution's great. There's inheritance, common things. All of these genes are related. They all have similar phenotypes. As you'll notice, though, the language for describing them is quite a bit different. You talk to a clinician, palmoplantar hyperkeratosis, patient might just say they've got thick hand skin, and in the mouse it's ulcerated paws. So we've been working on ontologies so that we can describe these rigorously and in classes. And that's a lot of work. There's a lot of ontologies involved, the cell types, upper anatomies so that you can bring different organisms together, just describing the diseases and what are the phenotypic characteristic of diseases. But the big thing is that we've got a huge triple store, it is, Neo4j behind it. The schema is essentially the ontologies, the classification that describes the entities and the relationships. But it's about a little over 2 million genotype to phenotype associations. The driving reason behind this is you can do so much with orthologs, but if you have a patient and they've got 60,000 variants, and it's not one of those cases where you can directly pinpoint the causative gene, you need to be able to compare phenotypes directly, not genotypes, but phenotypes. And so a lot of this work has been for comparing phenotypes. The thing is, while we have a lot of format and syntaxes for exchanging sequence information, all of which we've heard a lot about over the last few days, we really haven't had anything for exchanging phenotype information. So this is now being used hopefully by Global Alliance for Genomics and Health, also for the matchmaker exchange where patients are looking for patients like me. And so there is a site for doing this. There's API, and it generates this. So here's an example of a JSON description of a phenotype where you've got the particular individual who's involved. The human phenotype term is number 2055, which is small hands. It's congenital. Anyway, this is a traceable author statement. I'll blame it on Melissa. But you can export phenopackets to all of these, and this leads right to Nathan. Who did this yesterday?
Over the last couple of days, so it's very, very rough. So first of all, I just want to compliment the planemo, or however you pronounce it, is a very nice tool to work with. And really all I did was wrap the web services exposed by the Monarch Initiative to basically allow us to do all these different types of queries. So if you have a set of phenotypes that you know, you could list them in and find the intersection of those phenotypes, the union of those phenotypes. The same thing with variants, genes, diseases. There's probably things I forgot to add on there. But it's a nice tool. I don't think it's in such a short amount of time and such a short talk, it's probably hard to go into all the enriched data that Monarch provides. But this is probably something to take most people in here, maybe a couple hours to do all of that. But pretty straightforward. You add your list of genes, typically gene IDs that would exist within Monarch, or there's probably a lot richer statements that you can use. You get data out, you can do something similar. In this case, I'm doing genes for a set of diseases if you want to find a set of common genes for those diseases. And the same thing with the phenopackets. This is what I'm doing here. And then once it's in JSON, the phenopackets that Susie just talked about, you can go wild and run it throughout the rest of your workflow. So hopefully this is very rough, again, written in the last 3 days, but off and on all day. So if there's any feedback, anyone has any questions, no, thank you.
Do we have any questions for Susanna or Nathan? I'm impressed with what you've been able to do in just 3 days, and I think it's nice that the development time is so short with such a large collaboration like this, to be able to share it with all those collaborators and then make changes probably rather quickly based on feedback from such a large group. It sounds like a very nice tool for that.
Very nice tool, Sharon. Thanks.